This is the trigger warning for our show. Please understand that various monsters had various victims and hunted in various ways depending on the folklore, mythology, or stories that were told about them. Please understand that it is not our intent to upset you. You will be given other warnings and additional warnings depending on the episode, but this is our blanket statement. We didn't write the myths, but we are using them to tell our story. Also, this is the content warning for our show. There will be cursing. There will be some interesting ideas. We will take it in where we can, but be warned, there was beer involved.
What if I told you there is a world where not only are monsters like vampires and werewolves real, but they have rights, just like you and me. And in this world, there exists a secret government organization dedicated to keeping you safe and making sure they follow the rules. Welcome to Anarium, a Monster of the Week podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome back. It is your favorite neighborhood podcaster guy, Cameron, back to introduce another episode here. Last one was a pretty pivotal moment for the show and one of its main characters, and that is Bernard. His hearing about his actions inside of the dream world. We got to hear all of that, and some things are going to be different for Bernard. He is no longer a member of Anarium, and he is free, but that is something that was a big part of his life, and we're going to see maybe what he decides to do with the next chapter of his life. So let's go ahead and jump into that, shall we?
Hey, welcome back to Anarium. This is Sam. I'm your monster daddy. I'm slowly starting to accept that, and I like it.
That's good.
Anarium is a
How you
world...
could paste it, yeah.
In fact, I'm facing it. The Anarium is a world of my creation with numerous friends and family over the course of the last 10 to 12 years. It's been given life by Michael Sands' Monster of the Week. Great RPG. I recommend it to any new players. It's very simple. In front of me, I have four gentlemen who intend to play through my story tonight. Who are you, gents? Who's this lovely man to my left?
That would be me. I'm Cameron. I play Bernard. And this last episode, there was a pretty big revelation for him, I would think. And I just would piggyback on what you said. I think this is, if you're trying to start getting it, if you've never played one of these, this might be the game to start with tabletop RPGs.
It's very simple, but it's all the same idea. It's easy to play, so if you ever have a GM that's like, hey, how about Monster of the Week? Don't hesitate.
Because there really isn't, there aren't many ways to be wrong.
Right. It's very
this.
open to interpretation.
Yeah.
You have 2 dice. That's it.
That's it.
It's simple.
It can't get
And a
much
character sheet that practically writes itself.
Yeah. So that's all I had to say about that. We can see who else we got.
Hey, who is this handsome Nordic man? I love how you both like tilt your head to the side like, is it my turn? Is it whose turn is
Could
it?
be me.
Who's the handsome boy?
Who's the handsome boy? Who is this lovely Nordic Adonis I have sitting far away but on my little screen?
Just
Who are you?
across town. He's just
I'm not that
across
far
town.
away.
Yeah.
I'm 15 minutes away. I'm Taylor. I play Marcellus Corvinson,
You waved.
1100-year-old. What?
You waved. Like, hey, I'm Taylor. And I'm like, nobody can see you but
Abbott.
me.
I don't know why.
I love you, but it's good.
Yeah. I play Marcellus Corvinson, 1100-year-old vampire warlock. And as you all got the little snippet last episode, his badge number is 9. That's because
he's been around a
the
spell.
original Anarium members that created the Anarium, there were 8 of. Marcellus is the first outside of the original 8 Crusader Knights to become a member of the Anarium. So he is the oldest living member of the Anarium, I guess.
Show off.
But
I am curious. Is it like 0000009 or is it like just
no,
No.
it's 009.
He said
Okay.
00. He said 009.
Oh,
so he
okay,
is
okay.
he is 2 steps
Add
above
4 zeros after. Yeah.
James Bond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So, haven't given a little information on him in a long time. So 6'5", 250 pounds, always in a tailored suit.
Pretty solid
very-
pass rushing defensive end.
yeah, he's a big boy.
Not much against the run
well,
game, but
he's an original Danish Viking, so most of them were pretty large men. Blonde hair, blue eyes, short
First
blonde beard.
First
Uh,
strike. Got it.
by the way, that is
No.
one way that like football has ruined my brain. Sometimes I hear 6'5", 250, and I'm like, oh, it's not that big.
What's 40?
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
this 40? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a
And then,
huge person.
But yeah, so always wearing a tailored suit, carries a revolver and a large Bowie knife, and
This is a knife.
That's not a knife.
exactly.
This is a knife.
Sorry, I'll stop interrupting.
You're good. But yeah, that's me. That's my character.
Hey, faraway Rob, how's Colorado doing?
Colorado is beautiful as always. I am far away, Rob. I am the glue that binds the book that is this shitty group of
Ouch.
merrymen.
You brought us together. I wouldn't say you're holding us together. If you were like, hey guys, I can't do this anymore, I'd be like, no, that's cool. We got Cam and we got Taylor. We'll figure out someone else.
Ironic, but
You're right. I am the original. Yeah, I'm the original introductee.
Yeah, you were what
I
brought
don't
us
know
together.
How this happened? Yeah, we got.
You turned us
drunk,
into a nuke.
I visited, and we decided to make this happen. That is my sole contribution to this
yeah,
group.
yeah, pretty
That's
much.
sole contribution. You don't play a character every
Yeah.
episode at all. It's just you
It's
brought
pretty
us
much,
together.
hey, I'm coming back to Fort Wayne. I only have so much time to spend with everybody. You guys have, like, at the Venn diagram, you have a few things in common, so I picked you three to meet together. We're
Well, I
gonna go-
think it started
If
off
we're
with
being
me.
honest,
yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say, if we're being honest, Taylor's like, Rob, I'd love to meet you in person and get a beer. I was like,
There we go.
why don't we invite Sam and Cam?
Yeah, I was told there would be hot wings, so I came.
And Cameron had this adorable moment in hindsight where he's like, hey, I don't want you guys to make fun of me, but I really liked Supernatural. And I was like, I loved it up until season 5. And then these were all the problems I had with it. And he was like, his eyes got real big. He's like, one of us. One of us. And then Taylor was like, I don't know. I like this character at this point. There were a few good episodes. And that was like that moment where you realized, oh my God, we're all so
I'm
similar.
amongst friends.
We were
Barkeep.
amongst friends.
More beer.
More beer.
Our
Then
winch
we went out and drank mead and Fireball in the parking
Yep.
lot.
Place
for
said he had to be home an
5
hour ago.
hours.
Yeah.
For like
We
5
left
hours.
the
And I was
bar
like,
and
hey
drank
guys.
mead and
I've had
Fireball.
a dream for a podcast for years, and Cameron was like, I need you to know I'm getting a little hard right now with how excited I am about this happening. I'm not even kidding you. Our chat group is named Make It Hard because he was like, I'm getting a little hard right now with the idea of what this
was
is.
going to be, that was going to be the name of this show. And we did
we thought
Sissy
we'd
out
pull
at the
more
last
audience.
second.
Yeah.
We were like, that's gonna make a few people just not listen to it.
People aren't going to know what that means, and they're not going to want to listen. And
It's an inside joke. If you want to make it hard T-shirt, we can make that happen for you guys.
Yeah.
Make it hard on the front and narrow on the back. I'm thinking we need jerseys as a group.
I'm going to be
but
honest, we have recently gotten a lot of traction on Facebook, and I greatly appreciate everyone that's on
Very
there.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Yes, we
we
love
greatly
everybody who's
appreciate it.
listening. If I know you, if I don't know you, reach out to me. I'm recently single, so if you've got a sister, bring her to me. Taylor, looking right at you.
Mine's
Far away,
married.
Rob. I play Orpheus. I am our shitty Creole Frenchman, and
I would say like
I love
Woody,
I love
not
this
Shay.
group. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. And before we introduce our guest, who you kind of met last time, but before we get into him, I do really want to say that I appreciate the audience that we have. Because once Steve introduced himself, my brother, he's playing a character with us tonight. He's going to be in this next
I
story.
am one of the audience too, and not only do I appreciate all of you guys, but I appreciate everyone that listens to you as well because it keeps you making more.
You guys have been great. And I have had a few people reach out to me via email and kind of be like, hey, what can I do to help? Realistically, right now, what we really need above anything else is kind of grow our audience.
Yeah.
So your socials, whatever you do, if you've got a following, if you want to give us a plug to people you think will actually like us, I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't need to try to sell us.
Yeah,
you guys
that
already like
weird
us, and I don't
cousin
wanna-
at the family gatherings, he probably plays D&D, man. Just let him know.
I just like your knitting group, your bowling league, whatever it is. Just
The other thing that I will say that doesn't get said enough to for some people is that you don't have to actually understand the game at all in order to enjoy this. I can think of 2 people off the top of my head that know nothing about this game and have no desire to learn anything
Our dad.
about this game.
I've tried to explain it to him, and his eyes glaze over, and he's like, "I don't know. You guys are okay. It sounds good."
My wife too. But my dad loves listening to it, and my wife is starting to really enjoy it.
It's
as
funny.
well.
I had the same
So-
exchange with my father where I was like, I think you'd like it, Dad. Like, it'd be fun. And then I tried to, like, maybe you could play it one day, and this is how it goes. The eyes glaze over. He's like, you know what, man? I think I'll just listen.
So don't let the game part intimidate anyone. If you like the storytelling and stuff, give it a try first.
That's awesome.
Just
I think
'Cause
that's one of the bigger compliments.
that's
we get.
something that
I just want to thank everybody. Recently, I've tried to do some advertising on like Facebook. We've got quite a few people reaching out. We've got a listener in Australia. We've got a few in Canada. A ton of them are still in Fort Wayne.
Bonjour.
But still, it really makes me smile to know that like we are still kind of growing. And if you've got Twitter, I don't know if that's still a thing, TikTok, wherever people are going these days, if you have a following, give us a shout out. I'm not asking you to do it every week, but really right now, that's what we'd like. We don't need your money. We already have your faith that we're going to play a game you enjoy. Just kind of like to have a bigger audience to kind of spread out and actually start getting feedback, some more emails, kind of let us know what we can do different.
Yeah, of course, like bigger audience
Sheriff.
thing is like the biggest thing. But
Jokes
yeah,
are terrible.
well, we had a few like emails and like that made me really happy to open those up. And,
It does.
And
It's
get
like,
to like have a conversation.
You open it and it's somebody's like, "Oh, hey, I really like what you do. How can I help?"
you can also feel free to call Sam directly at 555-555-5555.
I need you to know that I work in sales at my job, which I will not be mentioning, and I would appreciate if no one else did. My deepest concern is someday someone will call in and be like, "Are you my monster daddy?" And I'll be like, "Can you not? Please don't do that, please."
What? Never call this number again.
I'm not saying no,
I
but
worked in sales for 11. Like I've worked in sales in 12 years, and I've been giving my personal cell phone away for 12 years. work for neurology. Everyone in the department has my fucking cell phone, and it is the worst thing I've ever done. So
I would
keep
rather
that
not.
same.
And
That's why I have one phone for work and one phone for personal.
if anyone ever calls in and
Want
they're
to
like,
text me
"Hey,
on
I
Google Voice. It's like
called to talk
720
to a
something.
salesperson about this, but are you my monster daddy?" If you could just keep that under your hat, I would appreciate it, because I don't want to
Oh,
lose
dude,
my
I'm
job.
so calling
no,
your
no.
work next week.
You
saying that.
Are you,
You
my
would-
monster daddy?
You would love that if some random stranger called your work when you were having a rough day and asked, "Are you my monster daddy?"
It would make
it
my
would,
day.
It would make your day.
But I also don't need the other people who work around me to be like, "What was that phone call about? What's a monster daddy?" And I'd be like, "I'm sorry, I can't. You can
I
just put
can't
me.
do this with you right now.
You can put me in a different department now. Now's the time." But that all being said, you've heard the voice. Now you get the name. This is my older brother, Steve.
Hi.
Who are you playing? Who are you?
Okay, so as I said last time, I am playing either, depending on which name you want to go with, Abraham Van Helsing, yes, that Abraham Van Helsing, or Radu Tepesh, the younger brother of Vlad Tepesh, or Dracula. He is 586 years old, not quite the same age as our illustrious Marcellus, but definitely up there in years. And he is the expert class. He is the penultimate monster hunter.
Now this is interesting because this is a new character, so you're gonna get a little bit of introduction here as to who he is and kind of like what he's about.
And I will try to keep that short.
Yeah, so if you could do that now, so they kind of know who you are, because like we all had our episode 0, and so if you could, even if it's, thanks, Rob.
Ah.
Cut that out, please. If you could let us know, who is Radu Tepesh? Like it's obviously named from history, but why are you still alive 580 years later? Like kind of like
Okay,
a little
so-
bit of lead up. You don't have to tell us all of everything. We can still have our secrets, but
So Radu Tepesh is Radu the Handsome, or the younger brother of
he was also known as Prince Charming.
the Prince Charming of Wallachia. Yes, you're right. He was. He lived with the Ottomans when Vlad. Him and Vlad were sent to the Ottomans when the elder.
Janissary court.
Yeah, when the elder Vlad Dracul
The second.
was took over Wallachia. Excuse me. They were sent kind of as political hostages. They weren't necessarily imprisoned. They were definitely treated very well, but they were kind of there in case if you start doing weird things, we're going to kill your sons. Eventually, Vlad went back and tried to take over Wallachia, and Radu stayed there and was probably going to stay with the Ottomans for quite some time. But Vlad did what Vlad did, and Radu actually helped them try to take back over and kicked Vlad out at least once.
He was known as an expert tactician. He was very bright.
Yeah,
Despite his reputation as being Prince Charming,
And
he
real
was
quick,
a
out of
fighter.
context, like I was just wanting to say, out of context, like stop being weird or we'll kill your kids. Like if somebody said that to me, I'd be like, you're gonna have to define weird for me, man.
Well, I mean, it was
Relative, buddy.
because when Vlad Dracul actually took over, he Dracul is of the dragon. Dracula is son of the dragon. So Vlad Dracul is their father.
The more you know.
Yeah.
Their father.
So when he took over Wallachia, he pledged his allegiance to the Ottomans, and he sent the sons were sent there so that basically he would keep doing stuff for the Ottomans, and if he didn't, they'd kill the kids.
I hate that every time you say that word, my stupid brain thinks of like small pieces of furniture.
Well, they were the Turks too, weren't they?
My first thought was like the.
I know what it is.
No, my first thought
I know. I'm just
legitimately was like, how does Wallachia make you think of furniture? What is
No,
wrong with you?
no.
No, Ottomans. I get it now.
Yeah,
I think they
hate
would
that it-
eventually become the
It's a lot
Turks.
like we conquered half the known world, and we make your feet comfy. Like that is the best thing. I'm with Cameron.
and now I've lost my train of thought.
I'm so
we-
sorry.
no, we've
Welcome
had-
to
no,
the
no.
show.
Oh, he was also he was one of the Janissaries too, I do believe. He
Yes.
was.
So we have our history lesson. We now know who you were in history. We know that you helped push Vlad out, which is the famous thing where it was people on spikes. Literally, it was if I can't have it, no one can. So I'm going to murder anyone who contests me, and I'm going to burn everything as I go. He leaves Wallachia. You guys take over. He eventually comes back and takes it again, and then gets kicked out again. He goes to find help with my brain still says John Berthenol, but I know that's
it's
not it.
it looks like John Hyundai, but I do believe it's pronounced Hunyadi. John Hunyadi.
He goes to him for help and instead becomes a prisoner.
Yeah,
And
he
that
held him
is
prisoner.
when we start taking the story to make our story a little bit different. What we can tell you is that Dracula was approached in some way or another while imprisoned by a chaos god and was imbued by said chaos god. You two need to stop flirting because I want to get involved, but I'm supposed to be talking about the show. God, two handsome men just trying to show off, and I don't even know what to do with myself. All right, so he becomes a warlock of sorts as a human. Calls to his brother and says, "Hey, Radu, I need you to come and see me." Radu Tepish comes to him.
Well, and at the time too, Radu is also the voivode.
Please forgive our pronunciation. We are trying.
Yeah.
We did try to do our history here.
Yeah, I did a lot of research on this, and I don't know necessarily how to pronounce everything. I'm really trying, but I think it's voivode or voivode. It's the prince, the leader of Wallachia at this time.
And so basically, Radu goes to his son-in-law because popular history's belief is that Radu's son-in-law killed him and took that seat. But in our alternate history, for our purposes, Radu looked at him and said, "Hey, I have a meeting with the devil if I don't come back. You're in charge. Tell people you killed me because you'll get some respect for that." You go, you meet your brother, and his whole thing is like, "Hey, I love you. We're brothers. I've never stopped loving you. I know that we've been at odds, but family is important. I have a great gift now, and I want to share it with you." And you were basically like, fuck off. And he imbued you with a bit of this chaos energy. that has kept you alive for as long as it has. You have the use of it, and that you, instead of taking the traditional magic that players have access to in the game, you picked a different attribute to pick, and it was the ability.
Actually, no, I kept that, but I'm using it differently because I'm going to stay away from the magic.
Because if he
but
uses too much of it, like he's not directly connected to the source, if he keeps using it, he drains. Think like Green Lantern. I can use up all my power, but then I'm going to age really fast and die.
Good idea to not gather by the magic. It's addicting, I hear.
Yeah, I'm staying away
You
from
said
the
that
magic,
so disgusted. You're like, yeah, the magic's addicting you.
but I'm leaving it in
It was
there.
a Magic the Gathering joke. I'm not sure if it was picked up.
I'm leaving it in there
Yes.
just as a doorway in case I want to deal with that later.
and-
Before Yu-Gi-Oh got canceled.
It's Voyavoda.
Okay.
Did I tell you Taylor always has the answers? Like, we talked about this before we came.
Oh, I learned
And
that long time ago.
And I was like, no,
It's like an old Polish
Taylor knows.
denoting a military leader.
Taylor's the one that's got his shit together. The rest of you,
Well, man, we're
you're just
playing
along for the ride.
We're playing along. We're backup singers. So, you made this contact. Your brother imbues you with some energy and leaves you there in a state. He tries to take Wallachia again, and he fails. Years down the line, he eventually reaches out to a vampire, and he says, hey, you should come and stay with me for a while. I think it would be a really great arrangement. Gets there. Eventually, he's like, hey, like, I've got some shit going on, but it'd be really great if I could be a vampire, too. And the guy was like, you know what? That's not a horrible idea. You've got some power. You're growing in power. So, yeah, I'll bite you. The bite killed him. Now, what matters to us in this moment is that that vampire was technically Marcellus's uncle by bite. Which is why Marcellus is on the constant desire to hunt down Dracula. That is a mission for him. You are doing it because, essentially, if you don't use the magic in you, you can't die until Dracula's dead.
That and Dracula's my brother, and I feel like it's my job to deal with
Responsibility.
his fucking evil.
Yeah.
alive.
And one thing, and I'll table this conversation until afterwards. I would like to talk to you fellas, 'cause I'm sure you've seen it. This Nick Cage
It looks interesting.
Yes.
looks
His
interesting
new-
is a good
His
word.
new thing. Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looks. It
Nick
looks.
Cage is playing Dracula in a film called.
Fuck. What's his name? His fucking
It starts with an R.
Renfield.
Renfield. And he is playing Dracula in it. It looks like a good comedy.
Yes,
I'm
so it's
excited.
a comedy.
That sounds interesting.
It's a comedy, and they are playing to. The whole thing is playing to like, and like they have to be playing to like Nick Cage seems out of place in this, like the way
I don't know. They made him look real good.
they made him look, but like his
looks
acting,
like
like
one
the
of his top
comedy,
three
it's
films.
I don't know. I could see him looking like Dracula.
It
I
looks
don't know
it.
about the acting,
That's
but
what I
looking
mean.
like Dracula, definitely.
I'm
it's kind
excited
of
for
it's
it.
kind of like if you ever watched, and then what we've done. If you ever watched Your Highness with Danny McBride, where they dropped him into like all these amazing British actors and this, but then there's fucking Danny McBride who's not using an accent or anything. He's like, "What's fucking up?" Like it's kind
You
of
know
like
what? I feel like Nicolas Cage could have been Morbius the way he looks. So, like, he
Get
looks better
Morbed.
than Jared Leto.
I never watched Morbius, but I love.
It's
that
not
it
as
be-
bad as
It was
the-
It was good.
I love that it became an adjective.
It's not
like, you
as
can just get
bad
morbed.
as the internet made it out to be, but it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it had its flaws, but it wasn't horrible.
Yeah. Anyways, sorry. Welcome
We
to the show
digress.
again.
Fuck Jared Leto.
After Dracula's defeat, he kind of goes off. He becomes this vampire. The person who sired him instantly dies due to the chaos magic, but he still becomes a vampire. And that's kind of where we're left, where, like, Marcellus' sire goes, hey, this man just killed my brother. You need to go deal with that. And you going, hey, this man is my brother, and I need to deal with that. So your characters know one another, and we're going to let that develop as we play, so I don't want to go too much further into it. But I did feel like your connection and kind of that story deserved a little bit of time. So I apologize to the audience. I know you're excited for the episode, but this is important, and that way you kind of understand our new character and how he fits in the world, okay? So, all that being said, let's hop in. We've just left we'll say the hearing for Bernard Miller. Bernard, what would you do in this moment? Like right now, what is your thought process? Like, where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? Are you hitting Disneyland, or is there something you'd rather? Like, where's your mindset? Like, you've basically been told, like, hey, you're not an agent, but we also don't think you're a shitty human being, and we're gonna let things stay the way they are. Outside of that,
Yeah.
what do you do? Where do you go?
Okay, so this is like, where do I go directly, or just how am I celebrating?
This is where you're gonna go. You're gonna have one brief moment after trial here to kind of talk to your bros, these agents that you've been with, these men who stood up for you in your trial.
Well, yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about. Was I think like in that moment, obviously I think there's probably when you're facing the death penalty ultimately, and that gets overturned, and you get what's essentially a bit of a probation. I imagine there's a little bit of a ton of relief, and then there is a wave of emotions for your friends that came to your defense. But as I mentioned, Bernard, since the chaotic moment that was the Dreamlands, that time in his life, and being sober, probably
for the first time in a while.
For the first time in a while, I think he has some clarity, and I think when the sobered up Bernard is able to get through the emotions of that situation in the courtroom and is able to sober himself from those emotions, I think he's ready to go do what he had been thinking about doing, which is going to actually say goodbye to his wife.
Okay.
Going to actually say those words to her.
Before we hit that moment, we are at Bernard's shitty little desk as he's cleaning it out. With him are Marcellus and Orpheus. This is kind of like your last moment as the group, as Charlie team. Is there anything you guys need to have be said or get out?
I think Bernard would probably, he's probably grabbing some jerky out of the drawers. Like, this is still good.
Like knocking broken peanut butter containers on the ground. Like, that's garbage. That's garbage.
This is still good. And I think he would eventually look at Marcellus and just tell him, like, you could have and probably wanted to rip my throat out a few times. I was surprised to see you. That's not the right word. I've given you plenty of reason to do those things to me, and I was relieved to see that you didn't, I'm here. Gesturing around like I'm not dead. That was pretty cool, man, because, like I said, you probably wanted to kill me a few times.
There were times I was annoyed with you. That's a given. But never to the point of wanting to kill you. You're a good man, Bernard. Marcellus is gonna reach outside the door and hand Bernard a very long box, and inside of it is a very, very well crafted shotgun axe.
Hey. Guess those dwarves came around, huh?
It took some convincing, but I had your family's names engraved in the handle.
Now, mind you, what we're looking at, like when we originally when we did Lucille, it was hey, we kind of welded this on. It's not great, but it got done.
Yeah.
You're looking at fully engraved. You're looking at brand new. You are holding something made for you, perfectly balanced, designed to be used. This is not a small gesture. This is big.
Yeah, not just from the engravements make it an even bigger deal, and from an equipment point of view too. Like, we have to remember, like, I was taking minuses. I tried to use shotgun originally, so this is a big deal. And again, I don't think he takes it lightly. But again, I know Bernard and Marcellus are not they're not going to cry it out. So I think you'll probably see him.
And this is when they kissed. See?
Can
Marcellus cry?
This is where the fanfic happens. No. But no, I think you'll see him just kind of run his palm and his thumb across where the names are engraved, and the I'm not gonna cry eyes look up at you like, Thank you.
Then you're welcome. Then I'm gonna reach in my pocket, my jacket pocket, and hand him his flask.
He's like,
You might need this.
and then he's just like, thank God. He's gonna see if there's anything in it.
This tastes like ass. What have I been drinking?
Um,
Again, 2023. That's not a diss. That's
I think I'll probably put that in his pocket there. And then he wants to hand you Orpheus. He thinks. Well, I should probably say it.
I swear to God, if you hand him your brand new shotgun and say,
No.
"Hey, make good use of this," I'm gonna you die. You right, a heart attack right now.
He's like, I always thought this thing was pretty cool, and it was like around the first time I met you. So he's gonna pick up the jar of goop from the piranha mission.
Oh
and say,
fuck!
like,
From the glowfish.
Yeah,
From the
he's like,
fish.
I don't know.
Forgot about that.
maybe one swamp to another. You can have this. He wants to hand you the-
Thanks for this glowing jar of goop. I hate you. I'm glad you're gone.
It's
Glowing peanut butter jar.
the peanut butter jar shouldn't just get thrown out. It deserves.
Bernard. Ma maison est de toi. My home is yours. And if you want me to take you there, Bernard, I can do this now. And when you get your hunting license, you can keep my home safe. And if you do not feel my home is your own, Bernard, I would respect this. But know if that day ever comes, my swamp, and she is yours, Bernard.
Great. Left me a giant watery shitty piece of land. Thanks.
No. I just want Bernard to show up at the swamp sometime, and then Orpheus needs to just look at him and say, "What are you doing in my swamp?"
Okay.
Bernard! Like, donkey!
I think he'll just say, at that point, I guess, while all this was happening, or not while, because that'd be rude. Immediately after that, I think he kind of reaches down, gets his bag over his shoulder, puts the shotgun where it goes on the other shoulder, and he's like,
It came with a sheath.
"Oh, okay, okay." He's like, "Well, never been much for swamps, but I think you'll see me around." And then he's just gonna kind of nod and see himself out.
Goes out. He gets in his truck
Yeah.
and he starts driving toward the cemetery. Where is Bernard from originally? I don't think we've ever discussed that. Like, we know what happened. We know his backstory. But where's he from originally?
Well, so I thought we had talked about it a little bit, and maybe I'm just
We may have. I don't know if we've ever done it on mic.
okay. So, to me, and the way we talked about it, what I'm remembering is we had said that he is from a very small rural area in Kansas, and he was brought to this particular part of Anarium because it was just the closest when the tragedy with his family happened. And I'm not gonna bullshit you. I don't remember the small town's name.
That's fine.
But
we know it was in Kansas. And
Yeah,
that-
it was-
ultimately, that's what's important.
Yeah, he was a logger in Kansas.
It was Ashley, Kansas.
No. It was Ashley, Nebraska. Kara, Nebraska. It was Ashley, Kansas.
That's right. Yeah, and that was what you asked, right? Where was he from? Is that?
That's not it. That's based on the Dreamlands episode.
No. That
He
was
did ask where he was from.
That's what you had asked.
Yes,
me.
originally. Do you have an idea of how long you're going to be driving to this gravesite? Realistically, if you lived in Kansas, there's a pretty strong likelihood you're maybe a few hours away at most.
I was gonna say I've never been to Kansas, but Kansas is pretty big, right?
It's one long, big, flat
Yeah.
fucking
Boring ass.
drive.
shit.
It's a
Yeah.
giant cornfield, as far as I'm aware.
Nope, that's North and South Dakota.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I think he's just driving on this probably one long flat road, 2 to 3.5 hours listening to classical music.
Weird
Oh,
flex.
babes, you ain't seen nothing yet.
No, if you remember, that's what that
His thing.
that is what
Listening to "Carry On My Wayward Son" by Kansas.
no, that his wife
In
was
Kansas.
that's what she enjoyed, and she was also a brilliant musician. And even though he never really understood it, that was his way of
Connecting with her.
staying connected with her.
You arrive at the cemetery. I'm going to say your cemetery. This is one you know. You've visited frequently. You go to where the gravesite is at, and it's a stone. It's got your wife's name, the names of both of your children, as they were buried with her, as you feel that they would have wanted to be. You're standing in front of this stone. You kind of look around, and there's nobody there. What do you say? Like, what's going through your mind at this point?
Well, first I think he'll probably just like sit down, cross-legged, like Indian style. I guess you're not allowed to say that anymore. Sorry.
I don't think anyone will be particularly offended.
But
and if they are, we apologize.
yeah,
But still,
apologies.
continue.
That's just, it was ingrained in my brain. That's what I've said for years, and I don't sit that way very often anymore, so I've had to say it. So he sits down, cross-legged, just beside the grave, and has a kind of a long sigh, not unlike the one that I just did. And he's gonna say, I apologize, I haven't come here more often. I've actually been just down the road hunting monsters. You believe it? I don't really know where to start. It's weird, you know? It's weird knowing that there's an afterlife, and also kind of not really caring that there is, because everyone that you love is on the other side. I didn't used to really believe in it much. I know you did. Now I am fighting ghosts and specters and all kinds of other bullshit, knowing that you're over there, if they're here. And here I am. And you won't believe this. I shot something that looked just like you. I mean, just like you. Pretended to be you, actually. I fucking blew its head off right in front of a whole group of people. Got in some trouble. Probably imagine that. Now I'm here. Because I wanted to tell you something. Something I learned a while ago. I just didn't really know what to do with the information. You know, that thing. Gargoyle, I think they call it. It didn't just pop out of nowhere. Somebody had to make that thing. Pulls the flask out. I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna kill him. And he kind of lays back on an elbow and puts the flask back in his pocket and just lays there for a while.
As you're lying there with your eyes closed, thinking about what you're going to do next, you notice the light changes. It's a shadow that has come over you. And you hear a voice, a friendly voice, say, "Hey mate, you like the kind of folk who could use a drink. You interested in sharing?" You open your eyes to see a tall, handsome man in a dusty black coat, pardon me.
Not so sure that's a compliment. But I'll take it. Anyway.
He hands you a very ornate flask. And you drink from it, and this is some of the smoothest liquor you've ever tasted. It's Pappy Van Winkle. They don't make much of that these days. It's very hard to get your hands on, but I know a few folks. So who are these? Who are these people? Obviously someone important. Folks don't spend their time in a cemetery unless it's important.
No, I suppose they don't. But I think the more important question is, who are you? And he kind of scratches his head, and he's like, just walking up on a man, paying his respects.
He takes the flask back after you've taken your drink, and he takes a sip. Well, these days I go by the name of Roderick. Came here to visit some folk myself. I can imagine they'd probably be laughing at us if they saw us here, paying our respects to a stone.
Yeah. I guess it's not so much a stone I'm paying respects to. And he kind of looks at it. Like, just doing something I should have done a long time ago. And at this point, he's going to stand up. Just kind of brushing himself off. No sort of, animosity or anything like that.
He would extend his hand and say, "You have me at a disadvantage, good sir. You know my name, but I don't know yours."
Oh, well, again, kind of keep whatever dirt was on his hand. He'd say, "Bernard."
It's a pleasure to meet you, Bernard.
He's like, "Yeah, I don't think it's ever been a pleasure to meet anybody in a graveyard, but as much as it can be, I suppose."
Well, today's a day for new opportunities. And boy, have I got one for you, mate. What if I told you I could bring them back?
I think his jaw would clench at that, considering what he's been through in the last. I guess I don't know if we said to the listeners so much, and I honestly don't really know how much time has passed from the Dreamlands to today.
You're probably looking at maybe a month.
Month? Okay. So in the last month or so, a lot has transpired. I think I was like, "What would you say if they already came back and I shot him?"
I would tell you that whatever happened wasn't what I can make happen. Imagine you get your family back. Wife, both of your children. No one ever remembers they were gone. How's that deal sound to you?
Too good to be true, for being honest.
All I respect, in respect, is a favor. Nothing major, probably bigger than moving a couch. But in return for giving you your family back, someday I'll call upon you for a favor. What do you say to that?
This much thinking to make a man thirsty, don't you think?
He hands his flask back to you.
Okay, he takes another drink. I think I'll look down for a minute and hand it back. Say, I think I can't think straight right now. I think I have something I have to do. And I gotta be honest, what you're offering sounds too good to be true. And I don't think this is... And I can roll for something if you would like, but I think Bernard would think there's no way that this is probably a perchance.
Right now we're still in character. You're not grasping anything. He hasn't given you anything.
Okay.
We're not quite to rolling. You're quickly coming up upon it.
Okay.
So right now it's just instinct.
Okay.
If you want to do
been two
more than
episodes
that,
since dice had been rolled, so I was like, I'm gonna give it the opportunity if what exists. But I think I'll just say, and I don't think you meeting me here is by chance. And I believe you have me at the disadvantage, Roderick. So what I want to do, as any man wants to do, go kill an old mad scientist. And then maybe we can talk. Do you have a number? Anything like that?
he looks at you and he smiles. Interesting. You're much more than the bows and bayonets that I expected. A soldier in the field killing monsters. You've got a bit more of a brain on you than you look.
I usually do when I'm sober, but I don't think that's going to last too much longer, so.
So as I understand it, you would like to get vengeance on the man that put these loved ones in the ground, as your mind tells you.
Again, jaw pretty clenched. Doesn't want to give too much away, but I don't think it's unfair of you to guess such as you did.
What if I told you I could put him on his trail? I could get you to where you want to be. I've got a lead for you. It's not as big as a favor I was gonna ask, but I can do that too.
I think he'll grab up his bag at that point and kind of throw it on a little aggressively, and I think he'd say, I think I'd like you to tell me that right now.
What if I told you I wanted more in return? What if I wanted to sweeten the deal? I still get what I want. You don't get them back, because clearly that's your choice. But I can lead you in the right direction. And in the future, if I need you for a favor, I'll take what I take today for that information, and you show up when you're called. Like a good boy.
I don't think Bernard likes that very much.
I don't know that I'd call Bernard a good boy.
Yeah, I don't think that he liked that very much. But I also think that Bernard is smart enough to probably realize that he doesn't want to get in like a fist fight with whatever this guy is. Like I said, as much as he's had in the past his moments of wanting the glorious.
He's testing you.
Yeah.
Admittedly, as your GM, he is testing you.
Yeah.
Now, if you want, you can leave this moment up to a cool roll. Act under pressure to decide if you blow up at him or if you keep your calm. That's up to you.
I kind of like that, actually. We haven't done one so long.
We haven't done that in a bit.
Either.
I mean, we're going to get some dice rolling here very, very shortly.
It's all good. Sorry, my son likes to play with my dice, and
Well, that's because dice are fun.
it's well, to him, he pretends they're dinosaur eggs. But you know, whatever.
Whatever works, whatever makes him have fun. I don't mind.
He'll ask me every now and then randomly, like, "Do you still have my eggs?" And I'm like, "Your eggs, bro? What are you talking about?" Oh, my dice. Yes.
Oh, shit. No, yeah.
That's an 8. Cool. So 10.
You keep your cool completely. You can handle this however you want. You are not prone to anger in this moment.
Again, I know he got angry, so I think the hand kind of on that bag that he has grips a little tighter on that old leather. And then he releases it, and he's just gonna like kind of extend his hand. He's like, "I'm sure you have some kind of a card or something, right?"
All right. Now, Roderick, as has been his fashion in the past, pulls a red card out of his right pocket. In the right hand that he is holding this card with, we also recognize still it is a deep crimson color, almost as if burned, but it's not the color of scarring. It is a deep crimson, not natural to anything that you would be aware of. And he holds the card out and he says, "I'll give you your lead, but when the time comes, you come back and help."
I think with that, like I said, I think he kept his cool for the most part, and we'll see what happens. But I think he'll drop his hand and walk by and say, "You know, on second thought, I like to find my own leads. It's kind of the fun part."
I think you'll stop. And you stop.
Yeah.
Interestingly, you should never take a gift offered by another without some expectation of recompense. He walks up behind you and he slips that red card in your front coat pocket. Now, you and I haven't made an official deal. In all good faith, I think I'll play along. Admittedly, I pushed you a bit further in a direction than I meant to. You want to go to the Hospital of the Sacred Heart in Illinois, room 306. That will get you your lead. And Bernard, I would remind you that giving out your name and accepting gifts from strangers is something you shouldn't do, as you were taught as a child. Be good, Bernard Miller. Don't open your mouth until I'm gone. I'm tired of hearing anything you might have to say. The offer stands. They come back. You burn that card, and it lets me know you're in. Consider this good faith gesture. I'm only taking a little bit. Consider yourself from here on out doomed. Bernard has lost all but 2 of his luck points.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I quite literally played with fire, so.
And in that moment, we switch over to Marcellus, who has been given a job by his sire. to go and find Dracula, hidden in what is known as a vampire prison of sorts. A place, The Lot. Obviously, stolen from Stephen King's The Lot. Obviously, we're going to mess with the story a little bit, but I always feel that credit should be given where credit is due. So he's going to The Lot. Knowing that he's hunting Dracula, as is your lead, you go to collect Van Helsing. An individual whom you are well aware is technically your uncle by bite. You two have had a working relationship in the past. You are by no means strangers. You get along well. You've worked together a couple of times on various leads. As you were driving, what's going through your mind?
More of concern. Anything of how is Dracula still alive, even though I was the one who personally thought I killed him? And 2, why now?
And why in The Lot, which is not a happy place to be. Occasionally,
That one makes sense to it.
because I suppose that's true. We have discussed that a little bit. Because The Lot's kind of like where vampires send prisoners, and then Anarium kind of keeps an eye on it. It's kind of a joint effort.
Right. So that makes sense to it.
But yeah, so you're going along. You're headed your way to Van Helsing's home, or Radu Tepesh. And hey, it's your big moment to shine. What's your home look like? Where does Radu Tepesh live?
You guys are out of San Francisco or Sacramento, right?
We're out of
Ashley, Kansas.
New Arkham,
New
Kansas.
Arkham. Okay.
Close.
Oh, shit.
New Arkham.
That
New
screws
Arkham,
things
Kansas.
up.
You can be wherever you want to be. He's coming to collect you.
That's right. Ashley was the town that went kaboom.
Yeah. Well, actually, you guys... Yeah, that was the one that officially went kaboom.
Okay, well, I'm somewhere off the East Coast. I live in a boat. A modified fishing trawler.
All right, so it's like an actual larger fishing boat.
No, it's a small... It used to be a small fishing boat.
It's
Big enough to live on, have some hold space, but it's not massive either.
It's about the size of the Gen A from Forrest Gump.
Maybe a little smaller.
But
But
All
it's
right.
probably somewhere off the East Coast somewhere.
So are you at like
Virginia.
a personal dock, or are you docked somewhere where there's a bunch of other boats?
Probably in a marina, but on a personal dock that I've rented
All right.
on a temporary basis.
All right, so how does this go? So obviously Marcellus comes up to the boat. I agreed. Assuming you don't have traps, he's been here before.
Oh,
so this isn't a difficult thing for him to find. You two are.
If
in
anybody wants to
communication.
come onto my boat and cause trouble, they are more than welcome to.
That's fair. All right, you guys can take the scene from here. We get inside the boat. I said that, and then I immediately started going into it. You guys can take the scene from here. What do we see? What are you guys up to? How does this greeting happen?
I'm assuming I'm on the boat working on the motorcycle, so that's what I'm doing.
Marcellus is just going to kind of deftly walk up behind him, say, should probably tune your carburetor.
Yeah, that's the next step.
Okay.
What do you need?
Well, your brother's back.
Yeah, usually is. Where this time?
A lot.
You would know what this is. You are aware of the vampire prison.
Can't wait to put a cool song in right here. Sorry.
What the hell's he doing there?
That's what I've been tasked to find out and put an end to him once and for all.
And who's tasked you to do this?
The Vampire Council.
I see. You do know putting an end to him once and for all is next to impossible, right?
Yeah, I'm the one that killed him last time.
And I've killed him 2 or 3 times since.
Yeah.
Man, you guys did not stay in good contact then.
We haven't seen each other in like 150 years.
We both
that's true.
We both have shit to do.
You both have.
I have
lives.
fought in like 3 or 4 wars since this.
I think I think the only way to find a way to put an end to him in finality is to work together. We've never done that before against him, and I don't think he'll be expecting us together.
Yeah, probably sounds like a good idea. Let me go below and get some stuff.
All right, I ain't riding bitch.
I'm assuming we were going to take the car you brought.
Correct.
Or did you fly here again?
No, not this time.
Okay. Alright, out of character, since I'm the
No.
expert.
Do it in character.
Well, I'm just going to say I'm going to roll. Because we're going to the lot. It needs to be quiet. I have the armory in my haven. So I'm going to...
Alright, so before you go into this, it is important to note that the more noise you make in the lot, the more people you're going to have to interact with. You have a group of half-starved vampires that are forced to live in a small town in New England. The more noise you make, which, Marcellus being a member of Anarium, I am more than happy to give you a silencer for your gun for this mission. Something you would have thought ahead of. I'm also willing to give you guys some tactical gear to increase your armor. I don't know what it's at currently. I believe you're both doing really well on that note. But if it's
I'm
something
a +1.
But if you want to take extra, because you know you're going into the lot, if you guys show up in like SWAT gear, it's not entirely out of question. Obviously you wouldn't be wearing it right now, but to have these items knowing where you're going.
I will take that.
You can have SWAT gear. And that is just that's 2 armor. It doesn't...
Well, 2 armor.
2 armor is the max that the game offers as far as armor goes. But it's SWAT gear. Now, mind you, you're not going to put it on till you get there, but it is nice to have a little extra, just in case.
Okay, so
You know how I roll.
with my haven, I took
do.
armory, which means I have a stockpile of mystical and rare monster-killing weapons and items and whatnot, and I can roll to see if I have stuff. So I'm going to roll to see if I have knives. Specifically a kukri, but we'll see what I can pull out here.
Good for slashing, bad for stabbing.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, plus...
It's 8. 4 plus 3 is 8. No, it's 7.
4 plus 3 is 7.
I've been drinking. It's my excuse. What
Plus
do you got?
weird is 8. So that's a 7 to 9. I have it, but only the minimum. So I have 1,
You have 1, and it's not the greatest quality.
which means I don't have one to give you, Tyler. I'm sorry. Taylor.
Taylor.
I'm used
I'm
to...
good. I have.
He's
I have
Marcellus, so...
I carry a Bowie knife. I'm good.
Okay. You guys kind of gather your stuff up. I for some reason picture Van Helsing hitting like a car binger to like lock the boat. I know it's dumb, but that's what I picture. And you guys head off to the car.
And that will be the end of this episode of Anarium. It's me again, Cameron. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. It was another one that was a little more storytelling heavy and not so much gameplay. At this point, if you don't enjoy those episodes, you probably aren't still around. So this was probably still a pretty fun episode for you if you're still here. Because I know that we like that aspect. We like to storytell, and we also like to, kind of let you guys know what's really going on in these characters' minds. And that's kind of another one of these episodes, especially when you're introducing a new character like Van Helsing. You want to take the time to let you know who these characters are. But something in the future we could maybe look to doing is maybe putting together a website. Maybe having a little bit of a source that you can see these characters' backstories and know a little more. Maybe. I don't know. Let us know. Send us an email. Let us know if that's something you'd be interested in. Other than that, that's all I really have. Make sure you guys are following, subscribing, doing all those things, because and leaving reviews. If you could please leave a review for the show, it would be huge for us. It's one of the biggest ways for us to get new listeners and all those good things. You can find us on our website or pretty much on any app. You can send us messages and just let us know what you like, what you don't like, what you want to see more of. And that's pretty much all I got. I hope you guys enjoyed this. We are getting into the thick of it here pretty soon, so make sure that you keep listening, of course. We'll see you next time.